Thank you for coming back to We the People News. Please subscribe, leave your thumbs up, and please leave your comments. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for all the support that you give me on this channel, allowing me to do this. Thank you so much. If you did not see this morning's video, please go back and watch it. I will link it to the end of this video. There's a lot of good stuff in there about Social Security, and I don't want you to miss that stuff. It's very important, and it would help me out on YouTube for you to watch it. Thank you so much. Y'all, I finally come to realize that on this type of channel that I have, talking politics and stimulus checks, there's going to be 50% of the people that likes what I say, and there's going to be another 50% that don't like what I say. The ones that don't like what I say, a lot of them likes to leave hate in the comments section. But you know, I've always said it don't bother me, and it really don't. But I do read it, and I do process it here for y'all sometimes. I tell y'all about it. I'm going to quit doing that because that's just giving more ammunition to them haters. When in fact, the haters are helping me a lot because they keep coming back to my videos, watching my videos, and they're leaving comments. That's engagement. That is two things that YouTube loves. So actually the haters are helping me. So I'm going to have to say I love my haters. Y'all please come on back and give me your hate and just keep supporting me. Okay, let's talk about this Rick Scott and Social Security thing. Rick Scott is wanting to end Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and among other things. Y'all, Rick Scott was the governor of Florida, and not a very good one. He wasn't the worst, but wasn't very good. Now he is a senator, and he's even worse now. He is a very scary man with his way of thinking. I mean, he's got this proposal out that he's wanting to end Social Security. We're going to talk about this. But first, when Rick Scott was in Florida, he ran a hospital group before he was governor. He had hospitals all over the world, all over the country, I mean. And they was under this one umbrella, and he was the big guy on the totem pole. He was the one in charge of these for-profit hospitals. Here in Pensacola, this happened about, I would say, around 2000. It could have been a few years before or a few years after, but around 2000. At West Florida Hospital here in Pensacola, Florida. This is one of his hospitals. It's a for-profit hospital. If you look at the hospital, it looks like some kind of nice vacation resort in the Bahamas or something. It don't look like a hospital, but it's a for-profit hospital. We was having I'm going to tell you this little story, and then I'll get back to the news part. We was having a storm here in Pensacola, and they had to lock the doors at the hospital, so they had to shut down just about everything. Well, this man came to the ER banging on the door trying to get in, and they wouldn't open the door to let him in because he looked like he was homeless and destitute, you know. And after all, this is a for-profit hospital. So they wouldn't let this guy in. He went back to his car. He was not homeless. He was desperate for help. But he went back to his car and sat in his car, and overnight he died in the parking lot at the hospital in his car because he looked to be homeless at one of Rick Scott's hospitals, one that he was the big cheese on the totem pole. So if this is the type of companies that Rick Scott aligns himself with, if this is kind of business Rick Scott does, this man is scary. I mean, to him, it's all about the dollar. Rick Scott now has an 11-point plan to save Well, I'm sorry, I misspoke there. He's got an 11-point plan, and most of it deals with Social Security. This 11-point plan proposal that he has opens the door to end Social Security, SSI, and SSDI, because they're going to come back every 5 years and revisit these programs to see if they're still needed. They can end these programs if they wanted to. And yes, Social Security, SSI, SSDI, they're included in these programs along with many other programs to help the American people. But with the verbiage that they have in this proposal from Rick Scott, they could just sign a paper and it would be gone. Your Social Security would be gone. After paying into it all these years, they can just, with a stroke of a pen, eliminate it. Now, what about the people that's dependent on that so badly right now? Do you want to trust these people that says they can end it? What if you're almost to retirement age and you've been paying in Social Security all these years, tens of thousands of dollars, and then it's gone? What are we heading to? I know one thing: if my Social Security is not there when I'm ready for it, there's going to be trouble. I mean, this is not right. But I ask you, if this is in writing, Rick Scott says they would never end Social Security, SSI, SSDI, or anything like that. But the thing is, he says they never would end it, but the verbiage says they could if they wanted to. And they're going to revisit it every 5 years. Now, do you trust Rick Scott and the rest of them cronies enough to say, okay, well, we've got it in writing that you can do it, but you say you won't, so that's good enough for me. That's just like a handshake, a good old boy thing. As long as it's in the verbiage, they can do it. And most likely, one day, they would get around to doing it. So we need to stop them now. This proposal from Rick Scott needs to be thrown in the garbage along with Rick Scott. In the midterm elections, we have to get rid of Rick Scott. He's done. Y'all, a few days ago, I talked about Joe Biden and the fact that he may have dementia and he's not fit to run the country if he does have dementia. And I talked about how bad dementia is on the family. And even though I see signs of dementia in him, I can say, yes, he's got dementia. But remember, I'm no medical doctor and neither are you. Excuse me, y'all. He may have dementia, he may not. He's never had a test and made public, so we may never know. He does show the signs of it. But in any case, I had a comment. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm having trouble with my throat today. But I had a comment from Michelle Baumgardner. And she asked me, can you tell us how your mother acted when she had dementia? Because the doctors has recently diagnosed her mother with dementia, and she wants to know the signs to look for. Michelle, yes, I can, and I'm happy to do that. I know it's a personal subject, but if it can help someone, it's worth it. The first time dementia was mentioned with my mama was a longtime friend that came to the house. We hadn't seen him probably in 10, 15 years. Well, when he started to leave, I walked him out to the car and he said, Walter, have you had your mama checked for dementia? I said, no, nobody's ever said anything about it. He said, you need to have her checked. I think she's slipping. So she was checked, and sure enough, he was right. She was the early signs of dementia. After that, the next thing, she started seeing things. She would see animals crawling out from underneath her bed at night. She would see kittens getting burned in the fireplace. She would see all kinds of stuff. Then it moved on to putting mothballs all around the house that when you walked in, you automatically start crying because the mothballs was so strong. Doing all kinds of weird stuff like this. Then one time, my kids was elementary school age at the time. Me and Amy had went to a movie and we took the kids with us. Well, Mama called me on the cell phone. Walter, you need to come home fast. The girls are in the front yard fighting with some bigger girls and I can't separate them. I said, Mama, the girls are with me and we're at the movie. So that was another thing. Then it progressed on to anytime she see me, she would think that I was Daddy. My daddy died when I was 3 years old, but she would always call me Ed, and that was my daddy's name. The only thing she would talk about to other people is my son, my son, my son, my son. Everything was my son, talking about me. Then once it got so bad, we had to put her in a nursing home for her own safety. I went up to see her one day, and she was talking to me just like she would be talking to Daddy. I mean, the kind of stuff that, it wasn't bad stuff. It was just calling me Ed during the conversation, that kind of stuff. She didn't even know who I was. But it progressed on from there. And she kept going in and out of the hospital because of different health problems other than dementia. And this one time she went in the hospital and she was just barely hanging on, and we knew it was time for her to go, and we knew it wouldn't be long, but it just seemed like she was hanging on. And the nurse talked us into going down to the cafeteria to get something to eat. She says, I hate to say it like this, but your mama is not going to go and get rest with y'all in here. She don't want you to see this. Well, when we was coming back, we got off the elevator to come back to the room. We seen them coming out of her room. When we was gone, she passed away. But dementia is a hard thing. It's hard on the family. And it's nothing to be joked about. If Joe Biden has it, I feel bad for him and his family. I mean, I don't like the job he's doing. I don't like Joe Biden at all, but I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Y'all sound off in the comments below. Let me know what you think about all of this stuff with Rick Scott and Social Security, SSI, SSDI. Sound off in the comments. Get it off your chest. It might make you feel better. Y'all, I love you all. Until tomorrow. Ciao.